It's death from above. This is when you know your opponent's won, but you want to have some giggles. You start death from above, and you leave your mechs lying. He's got a 9, so it's doable, but he's not going to make it.
Oh, isn't he? Let's find out.
He's not going to make it.
Tarron's called it. Hello, welcome to another Alpha Strike We Play video. Hello, Tarron.
Hello, buddy. We're doing a good one today.
We are, yes. This is
doing the DFA.
probably one of the most exciting and scary forms of physical attacks. Yeah, stupid as well. But I tell you what, if it works, wow.
Oh, it's spectacular whether it works or fails.
Yeah, that's true.
In the book here, they use the word desperate twice and last ditch once. It is a move that is not for people to be pulling off. Your mech warrior doesn't want to do this. All right, this is last ditch. This is a desperate maneuver. For us, it's just giggles.
Tuesday?
It's just giggles.
So I would recommend right from the beginning that you have a very, very, very good pilot.
A very good pilot.
And you're going up against a pilot who's not that very, very, very good.
Because there are a lot of modifiers, there are a lot of piloting skill checks, and there's a lot of damage involved.
Yeah.
Especially if you screw it up. So get that piloting skill as low as possible before you even attempt this.
So we've set up our little example here. We've got a Griffin who wants to do a death from above attack against the Wolverine.
Yep.
All right, so the Wolverine will give him his +1. He's finished his move because you can't do a death from above against someone who hasn't moved. It's just like charging.
Exactly.
All right.
And also just like charging, you have to have enough jump movement in order to land in the hex that the target occupies.
Yep.
You'll jump over there and you'll sit next to them, but you have to have the movement to enter that hex. Okay, so that's very important to remember. You can't shoot, or can you? No, you can't shoot, can you?
No, it's just like charging.
Just like charging, yeah. You're not allowed to shoot, and if you take damage during the weapon of attack phase, that causes you to piloting check, and you fail, then you'll fall from where you are as normal.
You do need to have a mech with jump jets to do this.
Yes.
It seemed pretty obvious, but we're going to mention it anyway.
I was going to say, I forgot to mention the one obvious factor is that you must have jump-capable mechs in order to do a jumping attack.
So the Griffin's okay. He's got a jump of 5. His opponent's 4 away, so he easily makes that. That's not a problem.
Yep. So, yes.
So let's go through it.
Let's go through it.
So, like all physical attacks, it uses piloting. So we're using standard pilots in our example, so they're 5-5.
Yep.
All right. So you use the difference in the piloting between the attacker and the defender as a modifier. So if you have a better pilot, it's going to be easier for you. Your base target number will drop.
So right off the bat, get your piloting skill as low as possible.
Yeah. If you plan on being this great, it's definitely the way to go.
It's also worth noting that for death from above, all other modifiers, your speed, the opponent's modifier number, all of that applies, but terrain doesn't.
No.
Because you're going...
You in fact spend your 1 level above the height of the terrain and the units that are in there.
So during the weapon attack phase, for the purposes of line of sight, that is where you are considered to be.
Yeah.
So you will be up high, right above where your target is, which means you're going to get shot. Basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's entirely possible that you're going to get shot down before you even get to try this, and then you'll land in the hex that your mech is actually standing in. Okay, so your line of sight purposes, you're up here, but your mech is actually here, and if you get shot during the weapon attack phase, you'll fall here.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so we have the Griffin pilot. He's going to activate, so he has to choose
jumping maneuver.
So we've got a red dice for jump.
Yep.
So he moves sort of in a direct path as best he can. He doesn't need to but it's helpful. So
you're still counting hexes, but technically it's a direct path.
Yeah. So if, as you can see here, there are on the direct line, there's a couple of hexes. So when you're doing your travel, you have to decide which of those you're going to be along. So is he going to go or is he going to go
Because terrain doesn't apply, it's not vital, but the last 2 are important because that's where you're actually going to fall. So you have to pick that for sure.
Yeah. So we'll just keep it simple. We'll go 1, 2, 3. We'll just go there.
Okay.
All right. So he started yaw.
Yeah.
So it's a +1 for
Plus
the
one
distance
jump.
that he travelled.
Cool.
All right. Next.
Okay. So you've got your piloting skill differences, which
In this case, it's none.
they're even.
Yeah.
So they're both standard pilots. They both got a 5. So he's seriously not helping himself. I think you then just add your standard modifiers, except for terrain.
Yeah.
And you're done.
That's it.
Yep.
We'll assume that the Wolverine popped off some shots, but
Yep.
didn't do enough to do any piloting or cause any criticals, so
Nope.
you don't have to worry about that.
None of his friends helped him out.
Yeah. So if he did have to do a piloting skill check and he fails, he falls in the hex that he's currently above.
Yeah, he'll fall there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're considered one level above the level of the hex that you're on.
Yeah.
So he is currently above level 0. So he's one level above that, and he's one level high when you do falls for a mech. So he'll do a fall at 2 levels, essentially.
So if you fail a piloting skill during the weapon attack phase, then you automatically you fall in the location where you are. But for the people that are actually shooting at you, you're above the mech. It's a little weird, but it's a thing. Okay, so we add standard modifiers for movement, etc., just not for terrain.
Yep.
So he's got a 5 to start with, 6, 7, 8 for jumping.
Yep.
And a 1 for the other guy.
Yep.
I haven't got my glasses on.
That's right.
6, 7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9. Yep. It's got no other damage.
No other damage, no other weirdness, and their piloting skills were the same. So he's got a 9. So it's doable, but he's not going to make it.
Oh, isn't he? Let's find out.
He's not going to make it.
Tarron's called it. Yes, he's called it.
It's death from above. This is when you know your opponent's won, but you want to have some giggles. You start death from above, and you leave your mechs lying, crapped out and broken. It's fun.
All right, so he's missed. So let's have a look at what happens.
All right, so we'll go into damage to the target in a second because he's missed. There isn't any, but damage to the attacker if they fail. So on an unsuccessful attack, the attacker automatically falls, taking damage as though the mech had fallen 2 levels onto its back. So when you fall, you take your weight divided by 10, rounded up. So he's a 55, he'll take 6, and you multiply it by the number of levels plus 1.
Yep, for a mech.
So 6 threes, 18. So he's taking 18 points of damage in 5-point groupings to his back. Which is
That's bad.
that's not good.
And the pilot has to do a check to avoid falling
He'll
damage.
have to do a check to avoid falling damage, and he'll be lying down in that hex. He's fallen in that hex. And that is right next to someone who has a very good reason not to like him very much.
That's right.
And yeah, it's not good. It's really not good. But let's say that in some parallel universe, he actually managed to pull it. Good Lord, look at that. You just rolled that and that's a thing.
I did.
So, damage to target. So to determine the damage to the target inflicted by a death from above attack, divide the weight of the mech by 10, the attacking mech, by 10, and multiply the result by 3.
So that's 18, like we had before.
18 again.
Yep. Here's the best part, though.
It goes in 5-point damage value groupings, and it's applied to the punch location table. So he's got, what did we say, 18?
18.
So he's got 3 5s and a 3. So that's 4 potentials to hit someone in the head. So let's see how he does.
Let's roll that,
Let's see if we
shall
can
we?
get a 6.
5, 5, and 5. We've got a 1, 2, and a 5.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
not the head.
No, not
not
the head.
the head per se. And the last one, oh, it's a head. Look, 3 point.
So 3 points to the head, and the others were what, 1, 3, 1, 2, and 5.
1, 2, and
so
5.
Left arm, left torso, and right arm. So you can see how that condenses the damage into specific locations. And 3 points to the head is never good. Okay, so he's now got to make a consciousness check because he takes an automatic point of damage for a head.
Yep.
Well,
let's have a look and see what happens. Yeah, he's fine.
He's fine. Okay.
But still, look, that's a 16% chance per dice to get the head.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
you
pretty
got a 1 in 6, so that's like that's going to happen. It's worth noting that if you death from above a prone mech, because you're scum like me and it's funny, you actually apply the damage on the rear column of the mech hit location table.
Yeah.
So you can hit rear torsos with that, which is cool. But, I mean, a 1 in 6 chance to hit the head is still pretty cool.
Absolutely. But I'll take that rear damage as well. That's nasty.
That's nasty. All right, now there's damage to the attacker.
Yeah.
Which is even nastier.
Oh.
Because the mech is not set up to do this. The legs aren't designed to do this. I want to get a set of legs that are designed to do this and whack them on a mech because it's funny. So the attacker takes damage as if from a successful attack on its legs. To determine the amount of damage, divide the attacker's weight by 5 and divide it into 5-point damage value groupings.
Well, they both weigh the same, so that works out easy.
Yeah.
So 6.
The attacker, the one who's just done a successful attack, is taking 11 points of damage to his legs. He did 18 points of damage to the punch location table. He's taking 11 to the kick location table. I'm not sure that's worth it.
Well, yeah, but it's not like it's like when you do a kick, it's all one big lot. You're splitting into 5s. So it's not too bad.
That's 2 5s and a 1, and it's on the front column. So you've got 1, 2, 3 is one leg, and 4, 5, 6 is the other leg.
The other one, yeah.
There's every chance you're going to roll the same number for all 3 of them and hit the same leg. And even if you don't, it's damaging your legs, and your legs are pretty important in this. All right. So he takes those, and then you have your location. So at the end of a death from above attack, the attacker lands in the target's hex. If the DFA is successful, the target is pushed 1 hex in the direction opposite the attack. And this is where picking your hex is important, okay? Because if you'd pick the one that pushes him over a cliff, you've won. If you pick the one that pushes him just like next to you, then you're probably going to end up dead.
Yeah.
So he'll go that way 1, directly away from you, and you will occupy his by spending your remaining movement points.
It is now mine.
It's worth noting it can result in an accidental fall from above, or a domino effect, or even a piloting skill roll for entering a building hex. So all the normal displacement rules apply. You can fall off things, you can be pushed into things, etc., etc., etc. If you can't be displaced into the appropriate hex, the hex chosen must be as close as possible to the original hex side through which the target moves. So you start with a 2 on either side and move your way around and you get displaced. And it's also worth noting that this even applies to prone and immobile mechs. You're still moved out of the hex. So that is interesting.
That's it. That's pretty good.
That's it.
Then so they have to do a piloting.
So that's your location after the attack, and then you have to check and see if you fall. So a successful death from above attack may cause both mechs to fall. Remember, an unsuccessful one is an automatically fall for the attacker. So this may cause both. So you both have to do a piloting skill roll. The target gets a +2 to his roll.
So let's have a look. Oh, list that. 11.
Yeah, and the attacker gets a +4.
Oi!
Because this is a stupid thing to do.
We got it.
Good lord. And it's unsuccessful, you drop 2. But if you do not have a good piloting skill, do not do this except as a seriously last-ditch effort.
Yeah. Just like charging, I think. Weigh it up.
Charging isn't as bad, I don't think. I mean, you're not taking a 3-level drop if you fail a charge, but it's still not good. The charges aren't good if you fail. But I mean, it is a last resort.
But it was 4 chances of getting the head. That's basically what it comes down to.
That's what it comes down to. Is a lot of chances for you to just stomp that cockpit in.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's worth it. I mean, if you are out of weapons, you're out of ammo, something's been busted, whatever, but you've still got your jump jets and you've got a weighty mech and there's like an awesome bearing down on you, give it a crack. Why not? Try it. See what happens.
And if it's all too complicated, just play the clans, because they generally don't like physical attacks. It's not their thing. They like the shooty and proving who's the best. So, but you know, for us, we like a little bit of fisticuffs here and there with our mechs.
And that's I'm as I enjoy physical attacks as much as I enjoy LRM attacks. It's those two extremes are just really, really cool. There's all the combat in the middle, but these two extremes are like, cool. But that, I mean, take it into consideration, because you are taking damage if you succeed. You are taking damage if you fail. You have chances to fall, and if you screw it up, you have an automatic fall. But you get a 1 in 6 chance to hit the guy in the head with some serious amounts of damage. So,
Well, that's all right. But that's death from above, so we'll leave that there. But check out the other videos that we've done on physical attacks if you haven't seen them already, because they are quite helpful. And it helps you to sort of decide what mech you want to field and what sort of purpose it has and things like that. But death from above.
we might go into some of the actual weapons that you can use for physical attacks next. Let's see how we go. But that's all the standard physical attacks, really, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go.
All right.
All good, guys?
Thank you. See you next time.